This is the Digital Savage Experience Podcast, hosted by Roman Prokopchuk, bringing you all things digital marketing, tech, business, and motivation. What's stopping you from becoming relentless in all aspects of life? Are you ready to become a digital savage? Let's get into today's episode.
Hey guys, this is Roman Prokopchuk, and this is the Digital Savage Experience, and this is episode 3, from Ukrainian immigrant to self-made digital marketer. Maybe a little biased, but I think immigrants that come to this country go harder than anyone in terms of business and reaching goals. They're usually coming from less than favorable situations where they went through many tribulations that the U.S. general population has not been exposed to. I'd like to think I have a similar story to Gary Vaynerchuk, but my story is still being written. Came to the United States in March 1990 from Lviv, Ukraine, with my younger brother, parents, grandparents, and aunt. At that time, Ukraine was still under the USSR, and we had to get sponsored to leave to come to the United States. That was a time of waiting for hours in bread lines, power being shut off, being sent to Siberia for even going to church. Before leaving, we were only allowed to take what we could carry and basically had our citizenship stripped before leaving, essentially starting our journey without a country. Before coming to America, we had to stop in Vienna, Austria, and Rome, Italy. That was the way you immigrated to the United States back then. We arrived in the United States in March 1990, stayed with our sponsor family for a month, and then had to move 7 people into a 2-bedroom apartment. My grandparents were already retired in Ukraine when we came here. They had to go back to work and continue to work for another 20 years. My grandfather worked in roofing till his 70s. He would be on a roof in 110-degree weather from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. 6 days a week. He didn't complain or say I'm tired or this is beneath me. He held it down and provided for his family. People in their 20s that came here to work at the same job would get hired and then quit after a few weeks, while this man would do this day in and day out for his late 50s to his late 70s without complaint. We were taken off Medicaid after 2 months as well, even though we still needed the assistance, but every adult worked. I started kindergarten when I was put in ESL, English Second Language classes, because I didn't speak English. My parents saved up a little money eventually, and we got our own apartment and continued working to provide and progress in this great nation. When I was in school, we didn't have a lot of money. The clothes I had weren't the best, and kids made fun of me, which is cool because at that point in my life, I've been through more things than most adults have been in the United States. Began flipping sports cards in school, selling candy, running lemonade stands, and anything else I could do to hustle. I remember I got a necklace for 50 cents from one of those vending machines and sold it for $20 in school before Valentine's Day. That has to be, to this day, one of the highest ROI yields I've ever had. High school, I was not really interested in marketing. It was still the days of AOL dial-up, and I never thought digital marketing would be a thing. Graduated high school and went to college at Rutgers University. College is cool and all, but I believe kids are brainwashed to go with the idea planted in their minds that if they don't go to college, then they won't be successful. Don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-college, but in 2017, you can self-teach anything you want online. Granted, some fields you absolutely need a degree. My point is, if you want something bad enough, you will learn with or without an educational structure that puts kids in debt right from the jump. I was a pre-business freshman year and later changed my degree to criminal justice, thinking it would be cool to be in law enforcement. Even had an internship with the Secret Service on the counterfeit currency squad. I also was considering going to the Marine Corps candidate school, but right before leaving got very sick and almost died. Fast forward to graduating in 2007 and 2008 when everything crashed. No one was hiring. I applied for jobs day in and day out. Felt hopeless and eventually felt depressed and like a failure. A friend I met at the gym introduced me to digital marketing. I spoke to him several times about looking for a job. He told me his business needed search engine optimization and other services. He said take a month, learn the basics, and run his digital programs. I accepted the challenge, worked my butt off, and learned and began to get the hang of it. After that opportunity, I applied to a company called LexisNexis to their legal division for SEO analyst role. I got the job at LexisNexis and spent almost 4 years working up to a senior SEO and social media specialist. There I really hustled and got a lot of hands-on experience running hundreds of campaigns, eventually managing elite client campaigns with a portfolio totaling of $5 million. I read, tested what I learned on client campaigns, went to meetups and even conferences, as many as I could. At this point, I saw that digital landscape was changing and wanted to get working knowledge of all digital marketing disciplines so I could become a more effective digital marketer. I got all the major industry certifications, which, personally speaking, a piece of paper doesn't demonstrate your expertise. It was at Lexis where I knew I was talented enough to start my own agency and become a digital leader. Others were doing it, why couldn't I? I received other job offers while I was there, one of which was a startup, and I made a prediction that Google would roll out the Panda update and would basically destroy their business, and so it happened. I ended up turning down that job offer, but moral of the story, when you know what you're talking about, then you can do anything. I left Lexis and held 3 director roles at 3 different digital marketing agencies where I saw all the positives and negatives of agency life. All the ways not to run a company, all the ways not to treat your employees, and some of the good things employers did as well. I diversified the type of clients I worked on, gained a lot of experience with Fortune 500s, and saw how agencies worked with internal marketing teams. Hundreds of clients and many different business structures have molded me into a digital savage. After that, my reputation grew and I was referred to by former colleagues for projects based on my past results. My holistic approach and a not one-size-fits-all mindset really delivered results for clients. Moral of this story is not to brag, but to highlight the unique journey immigrants take that set them apart for success. Many of the top marketers or entrepreneurs are immigrants. The journey has given me a unique hunger and perspective, never to be passive, constantly redefine and reinvent, even if it is in the things to do. Never become complacent. I believe prosperity breeds complacency, which is something I didn't start off with in my life. It is a blanket statement, but I've seen it firsthand. Complacency is also the killer of innovation. Being an immigrant has basically built the hunger for success inside me, which no one can take away. Regardless if you're an immigrant, if you've been here, whatever your situation, I just think the moral of the story, or like my perspective, is not to use your cons, but whatever cards you're dealt, handle it and get to where you want to go. I mean, you could start off with trust fund baby, $5 million, $10 million to, living out of your car or living in an alley in anything, any situation, bad or good. So, I mean, life is life. As long as your heart's beating, you can redefine your journey. So I just want to leave you with that. Any questions, feel free to reach out to me here or on any social channels. I really appreciate the love and all the attention. Take care.
This podcast has been brought to you by Nova Zora Digital. Find out how Nova Zora Digital can help your company grow online. Learn more at novazoradigital.com. Until next time, all you digital savages.